Until then, we all we're gonna get over there.
You got it?
I take my glass.
You send me the email? No. Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests, in person and online. Welcome to today's meeting, July 30th. We'll start as usual by the invocation. So I wish to invite, that you get the invocation up there. Invite our visiting Rotarian, Mike. To lead us in the invocation, please. You can see it there, Mike.
Say one.
Yeah.
Just read it out. Oh Lord, who knows our need, help us fulfill our one retreat. We live to serve you every day in all we think or do or say. Accept our prayers for this meal, restore, forgive, inspire, and heal. Amen.
Amen. Terry and Mike. Then I'll ask past president June to lead us in the Lorentos.
Read your glasses to Lorentos to the king.
To the King and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you. You may be seated. Right. So looking either we have Mike Lightborn, who is a Rotarian. Some of our speakers are Rotarian as well. No, not yet, she said. All right. Do you have any other visitor Rotarians online? No visitor Rotarians online? They're all Rotary Club of Nassau members. Okay, same so. Okay, well, fellow Rotarians, I guess, let us greet Mike, Rotarian Mike, and let us greet him, please. Thank you for being with us again, Rotarian Mike.
It's been a while. So
Yes.
glad to be back.
Yeah, thank you for helping make up the numbers. All right, do we have any non-Rotarian guests with us today? I know we have our speaker, and she's gonna get a special recognition. But apart from our speaker, do we have any non-Rotarian guests with us? No? All right. So we're all Rotarians here today. All right, well, good to have each of you. We hope that you've had a nice week so far. We do have a lot going on in the club. So at this time, I would then ask, I think, Director Keno is acting in place of our president today. Yes, so we have some announcements. We'll invite Rotarian Keno. Just greet Rotarian Keno as he comes up, please.
Thank you very much, Jamal. It's good to have you all at our meeting today, those in person and those online. Again, Mike, it's good to have you with us today, Joan. I've been seeing you since last week. It's good to see you again. Our guest speakers in the house, Doc, is here with us. Can't wait to hear your presentation today. For those of you online, I'm looking for Shelby. Shelby, of course, you would have seen Shelby announced, I think it was this week, a new initiative for our health and wellness. How many persons have already registered and signed up for that health and wellness challenge? I hope you have. It's an exciting challenge. I looked at some of the things that you talked about doing, the jumping jacks and the eating healthy with the salads. And I said, boy, Shelby's gonna have all of us in shape before the end of the month. And I hope many of you are gonna be joining that health and wellness initiative because, of course, Rotarian means that we could contribute more and more to the community, not only financially, but also with our time and our giftings and our talent. Well, our president sends his apology, he's traveling, and he sent just a couple of things that he wants me to highlight for all of us. So 2 or 3 things he wants me to highlight. One of them is to ensure that all of our members, we have the Rotary International dues that need to be paid by the end of July, and we want to ensure that all of our members make sure that they pay their dues so that we'll be able to ensure that we keep that obligation to Rotary International. We want to ensure that you pay at least half so that by the end of this year, in the next month or 2, you'll be able to pay the other half. That's the first thing. The second thing that he wanted us to mention is that we need a peace ambassador, a peace ambassador. So we're looking for someone who will volunteer for that. I don't know if we have anyone who is in the room today who would like to volunteer or anyone online. I'm going to encourage you, if you're interested in that, we need to have a peace ambassador, someone who will be able to represent the club whenever we are dealing with that initiative. So please ensure that you continue to follow up with what's happening in the chat. You know exactly what's going on in our Rotary Club. There is one other thing, of course, as we end this month with child and maternal health. Next month, we're going to be focusing quite a number of things in terms of our membership. So please, we encourage you to invite as many members, new potential members to our club in person and online. We already started the initiative of reaching out to companies so that we can have our meeting with the company. We'll bring you an update next week in terms of who we're going to be, which company we're going to be meeting with. And we are certainly looking forward to that. All other committees, the president, this is the final one, all other committees, the president is asking that you please submit all your strategic plans to him so that he will be able to record that of course, in our overall strategic plan with Rotary International. So I think that's all of the main things that he wanted me to highlight. Again, I want to encourage you to go out there and let's make a difference with our club, with Rotary Club of Nassau. Jamal?
Thank you, Terry Keto. All right, so, nowadays it's very difficult to find jokes, and so if any of you have any jokes you like to share, we gotta do things a liberal way. I gotta invite people to come up and tell their jokes if you wish to tell jokes. Joe, you look like you have a joke.
No, I haven't.
No jokes? He's joking, I agree. Anyway, I found one joke I'll like to tell, right? So a teenager was entering his senior year of high school. And his father, who happens to be a Baptist preacher, made a deal with him. He said, son, if you get straight A's in the year, and if you cut your long, shaggy hair, it make you look like a hippie, I will buy you a car of your choice when you graduate. The son accepted the challenge, very excited, and he worked very hard all year. He got the best grades of his life and graduated top of his class. Well, Dad, I held up my end of the bargain, up my class. I'll take a Ford Mustang, red, hot red. The dad smiled and said, well done, son. Your grades are impressive. Now all you need to do is cut your hair, and the car is yours. But Dad, the son protested, what's wrong with my hair being long? You're a religious man, you're a preacher. Jesus had long hair, Samson did, John the Baptist did. Yeah, says that. But they all walked wherever they went, didn't they? Okay, you got it for you. You like that one? All right, good. Well, I'm happy to see that, Rotarian Shelby has sent out the challenge, as Rotarian Keno mentioned. Sent out the challenge, for the month of August. And I'm hoping that, that we'll take our health very seriously and, at least participate in this, August challenge that has been sent out by Shelby, member of the Health and Wellness Committee. All right, it doesn't take very much. I see that, Sheila asked about what our plan, what was that you, Joe? You asked about,
Not me.
no, the plans.
I got to do all those things that you walk and see.
Well, that's good. That's a good start, Joe. But Joe, I think you can do the planks. You can try the planks, Joe. You can try the planks. All right. So, we just want to encourage you to, to participate in these challenges that are sent out. Each committee member is tasked with planning and executing an event for each month straight until the end of the Rotary year, June. So we really want to encourage all Rotarians to take part. I think that, some of you actually are active in these events. That helps to make the year far more fulfilling. So even though, we all have busy schedules and we got all bogged down and work in our private lives and so forth, try to take advantage as much. If you're a member of the club, you try to be a part of the club. So take advantage of whatever events you see your club is putting on, right? Like I said, that helps really to make the year more meaningful to each of us by having your participation and also yourself. With that said, we're planning a gigantic fun run walk in the month of October. All right, so we're just looking to confirm the date. It'll be either the 5th of
You got it,
October
man?
or the 12th,
Okay.
depending on feedback.
Shelby just
Yeah.
came.
But it's going to be, we plan it to be a very big event. We're hoping that we also can raise funds from it at the same time. So please mark your diaries for that. If you're traveling, let us know when you're going to be traveling so we can try to make sure we get as many people from the club present when we actually decide to have the front room walk in October. All right, so that's as much that I have to say for right now.
Shelby's on. You wanted to say anything
Yeah,
about her?
yes. Rotarian Shelby, can you please elaborate on the health challenge, please? Thank you.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Let me just get my bearings. All right. So we have a challenge for the month of August. Week 1, that's this week. I don't know if everyone was aware, that is this week. So you have until what? When is the weekend? Saturday? You have until Saturday to post a healthy meal and make sure include a veggie. Make sure include a veggie. Now I saw some people sending their videos with their planks, but this is not the week for that. So please, week 1, we want a healthy meal, include a veggie. Next week, which will be week 2, you want to show proof of a 30-minute run or walk for 3 days. 3 days next week. All right. Now, someone said to me, well, Shelby, what if I can't run? What if I can't walk? We may have some challenges. And I advise, what about sitting in a chair, doing some arm presses, head movement, dancing? Just give me something for 30 minutes. All right. Then submit a video with 20 jumping jacks. Again, if you want to participate and you probably can't do the jumping jacks, then show me 20 or something. Throwing a ball against the wall, catching it, and just be creative with it. Then week 4, we want to get everyone involved, and I want you to send a picture with you exercising, any exercise of your choice, with an RCN member or your RCN designated buddy. And then the bonus is to send a video holding a 1-minute plank, and that's just for fun. So that will not get you the 150 Johnville gift certificate. It's just a bonus. It's just a fun. But I encourage you to send me a DM, message me privately, let me know that you want to be a part of the challenge so that I can put your name on the roster. And let's just make it fun. Let's make it fun.
All right, great. Thank you. Question?
One other thing, Sabina from St. Antoine's.
Yes, okay. Just before Sabina comes on, thank you, Shelby. I hope you have my name down. I think I would have said.
I do. Everyone from the wellness committee's name is down.
Because I'm gonna win that $150, you know, I mean, that
Gift
certificate.
certificate, gift certificate, yeah.
Yeah. Other times right around the corner, so I could use that for that, so. All right, so I look forward to that. Good initiative. Okay, Rotary and Sabina.
Hi, good afternoon, all. Jamal, I think I'm gonna win that. Take those words back. I got this. I got this. But
You
good
gotta fix your
afternoon, all,
first.
once again. Just here to promote August, the 31st. That will kick out the education and literacy programs. That will start out the gate with the Back to School initiative, which will be held once again at Stephen Dillett Primary School. We're actively on the way, already confirmed. It's the Ministry of Health representatives that will be there to do health screening. We have a puppet show that's going to be taking place. Landlord, he's going to be there to sow a seed and sing. And then we'll have some inspirational time going on during that pep rally. But most important, we need, as before, every man on board to assist with the setup, to assist with the serving, and also to assist by donating. So you'll see notifications coming forth. As you've already seen previously, we'll continue on to make sure that it's being on the page. So you could definitely sponsor your time, talent, and your monies towards this positive initiative that kicks out the Rotary Education Literacy Committee off. All right, thank you. Every man on
Thank you,
board.
Rotary. All right, absolutely, that's right. Like you said, you know, this year we're promising to have a very active year for each of you. Because we're not only gonna say that we're Rotarians, we're gonna actually show that we are Rotarians, all right? But we all need your participation in all of these endeavors. All right, now without further ado, as our speaker ready? Well, we're gonna ask our past president Joan to introduce our speaker for us, please. Please, read as she comes up.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I am pleased to welcome our presenter here with us today, Dr. Junilor Swan Miller, who will speak on childhood obesity. Dr. Junilor Swan Miller was born in Nassau, Bahamas, attended Jordan Prince William High School, then the College of the Bahamas to complete her Associate of Arts degree. She furthered her studies at Georgia State University, then moved on to the University of the West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago, where she was awarded her degree MBBS, Medicine and Surgery. Returning to the Bahamas, she worked with the Department of Pediatrics at the Princess Margaret Hospital and is licensed by the Bahamas Medical Council. She did her clinical DM pediatrics program at the UWI Bahamas and Jamaica campus. In February of 2020, she received her certificate of completion for Autism Direct Observation Schedule, second edition ADOS 2 workshop, which focuses on diagnosing children on the spectrum for autism. Currently, she works at Doctors Hospital, Flamingo Gardens Clinic, and Elizabeth Estates Clinic with Child and Adolescent Health, as well as the Pediatric Specialist Bahamas, located at the Harbor Bay Medical Center. She is married to the Reverend Keith Miller and 3 lovely children, Ethan, Kiana, and Katie. Her hobbies are singing, reading, inspiring, and motivating others. Fellow Rotarians and guests, she is a child advocate. Please welcome her.
Thanks for inviting me. When I was asked about what topic I wanted to do, I chose obesity in children just because we're seeing increasing number of children in the community that are overweight and obese. And also because we have an increasing rise of chronic communicable diseases in the community as well, both of which are a burden to our society. So, and there have been a lot of talk lately about this topic as well. It's a very sensitive topic. Sometimes we don't like to talk about it. And sometimes when parents come into the office or at the clinic, it's a topic too that sometimes you feel like you're walking on eggshells. So just wanted to present this topic today. So we're going to talk about obesity in children, and we're going to highlight some of the things that we can do to combat this problem, especially in our country as well. So why is this topic so important? And like I highlighted before, the burden starts early and it will carry through into adulthood, okay? So if you look at some of our statistics in the Bahamas, in the Caribbean, the Bahamas has the highest number in terms of percentage of persons that are overweight and obese in the world, and then especially in the Caribbean. We're about 5 to 19 years old in terms of our children. About 36% are overweight and about 17% are obese. Next slide. And when you look at the London-based World Obesity Federation, they predicted that by 2030, we're going to see an increased rise in the percentage of our children that are obese. And the World Obesity Atlas also predicted that when you look at our male and female ratio, we will also see an increase in the number of obesity and overweight persons in our men and women population, 33% in men and 46% in women. The Ministry of Health did a global student health survey where they looked at students across the country in 2013, and they saw that students between the age of 13 and 15 years old, about 45% were overweight and 21% were obese. All right, and then in asking the questions with the survey, they noted that, and we'll see later too, in terms of the etiological factors, that these children consume carbonated drinks or sugar related drinks about one or more a day over a 30-day period, drinking a lot of sugary and carbonated beverages. So by definition, obesity refers to excess weight or excess fat on the body. And we look at it in terms of the relationship of your weight to your height ratio. And this is measured in a clinical setting by using the body mass index. And this terminology, when you're speaking to parents, comes over a little bit better than saying that your child is overweight or once you can explain what body mass index means. Next slide, please. So this is just a formula that we use for our kids to calculate their body mass index. And like I said, you need to have the weight of the child and the height of the child. Beforehand, we would look, so we follow the child from about 2 years and beyond. We're always following the weight and the height, head circumference until up to about 2 years old for the children. We need to plot this, very important. Nutrition and growth plays a very important role, especially with social well-being, learning and all of that. So these are the anthropometric or your height and weight is a very important thing that we look at when the child comes in to, for their well visits or their sick visits. And we look to see, based on the BMI, are they underweight? Do they have normal, healthy weight? Is the child overweight or obese? And beforehand, we used to use morbidly obese. Like I said, we try not to use these words too much and just go by the body mass index, because it comes across a bit better, when you're explaining it to the parents. So ideal normal weight, normal BMI is between about 18.5 to about 25. When they're getting beyond 25, they're overweight. And when you get into the BMI categories of greater than or equal to 30, they're considered obese. And there are different classes of the obesity scale based on the BMI. So why is it so important? You know, sometimes, especially I think Bahamians, we like to see our children kind of heavy set, they look healthy that way. But the problem is that when it gets a little bit too excess, the risk of it spilling over. So if you challenge the adipose tissue, most researchers say, if you challenge the adipose tissue at 2 years old and a child is overweight or obese at 2 years old, the likelihood of them being overweight as children and then as adolescents and then as adults is very high. So this is why we need to this problem at a very early age. So obese children become obese adults, and substantial amount of adolescents are obese because this obesity was established when they were about 5 years old, from they entered into kindergarten. So children living in households with overweight parents are more likely, 4 times more likely to be overweight or obese as well. So environmental factors and social factors also play a role. So when we're looking at the etiological factors, there are several factors that contribute to this, and we're going to just take a brief look at all of these. We look at the environment, sedentary lifestyle. So beforehand, kids used to, back in the day, everyone would be outside. I guess it wasn't so hot too. Everyone would be outside, you'd be shooting marbles, you'd be skipping, playing basketball and all of that. But these days, the kids are on their tablets, they're on their phones, they're watching TV. They prefer not to be outside. They're not outside riding their bicycles with the neighborhood kids. So sedentary lifestyles, they're not active anymore. And then research has proven that when a child sits in front of the television and eats, that they don't seem to realize when they're full. And so you tend to overeat. So they're watching TV and then they're eating in front of the TV instead of sitting at the table with their parents and eating food, so that they'll realize, you know, I've had enough and push the plate away. So, and then it's hot, but instead of water, we're consuming a lot of sugary beverages that further increase the issue with the weight, because some of these beverages can have so many calories, up to 270 kilocalories per day, and that's equal in a lot of cases to a whole meal. So we talked about the screen and use. Go to the next slide. Sleep. So before we didn't think that this was very important, but we have to recognize that it is. So they found that even kids that are very active, they might be eating a little bit better or not eating as bad. But if they're spending a lot of time in front of the television or staying up real late and they're not getting the adequate amount of hours of sleep, this also contributes to increased weight or increased adiposity. So having shortened sleep does contribute to our overweight and obesity problem. Medications. just to be aware that some kids, even though they had healthy weight before and they started medications that are necessary, that these medications does increase the risk of them becoming, overweight, in many cases. So we have to keep that in mind as well. And so just to remedy that, you have to kind of, exercise a little bit more and eat a little, healthier. So steroids, persons that are on psychoactive drugs, or kids that have seizures that are on anti-seizure medications, these medications can increase, their weight to some extent. Genetic factors. So a lot of people say, well, doc, my Grammy was overweight, my mommy was overweight, you know, everyone in my family is overweight. So yes, that does contribute a bit. But they've also found that even when you have these instances and we put a child in an environment, where there are more healthier lifestyles and, more activity, that, these children have, shown some reduction in their weight and not prone to have the overweight or obese later on in life. So, that factor can be combated. And then endocrine disorders, so certain illnesses does predispose some kids. So when you see a child who, for example, they are overweight, but they are also short too. Yes, you do your history and find out, is there something where they're eating a lot and not as active? And when you rule that out, but if you see a short, fat child, you should look into whether or not this child may have some endocrine disorder, like their thyroid function is not up to par, and that can cause them to be overweight. Another factor, so I always talk to parents, when we do pregnancy counseling, or when a child is first born, within those first few months and all of that, the parents play a critical role. So a mother who has excessive weight during pregnancy as well. So we try to encourage them to eat healthier, because this can, cause some issues with the child as well during pregnancy and put them at risk of having excessive weight gain or being overweight during this time. And this, like I said, it goes through to infancy. Educating parents too with the way they're feeding the child, the infant, increasing the volume too quickly, or we have a thing that we do, I know not just in Bahamian cultures, but some of the other Caribbean countries as well, where we kind of dash the formula with cereal. So we're adding calories in that vein as well. So all of these things are contributing to the infants becoming obese at by 2 years old, and then becoming obese as a child and as an adolescent. So how, we talked about the problem, we know there's a problem, how do we put preventive or put strategies in place to kind of circumvent this problem? So counseling is very important. So when, like I said, when a child comes into the office or into clinic, and we look at their BMI, and the BMI is saying that the child is overweight or obese. Like I said, this is an extremely sensitive topic. Sometimes when we start this topic and we have follow-ups, sometimes you don't see the patient again. So because, you know, they feel that it's something just too difficult to overcome. And you have to be careful and choose your words, very, very carefully. And not to put any blame on the child or any blame on the parents. So this is very important that you approach this topic with much sensitivity, much caring, and using the right words. So you give a lot of support. You let them know that, yes, some kids are a little prone to even with a small amount of increased calories, they're prone to weight gain a little bit more than others. And like I said, if they are on medication or if they have some medical condition that'll predispose them to rapid weight gain. So you bring all those factors together, letting them know, we know that it's expensive right now to get fruits and vegetables. And so the economy is a bit bad. So you're talking about all of those things that we know, all of these restrictions that are in place that may be hindrance to you eating healthy and being more active. Mommy and daddy are working a lot, trying to get out to the park. So, you're talking about all of this as well, and you have to be practical. These are real problems and real issues and real barriers. So, and you don't criticize and you recognize that some of these kids, they're being teased at school. So they have self-esteem issues as well. So you don't want to add to that as well, all right? And you do, like I said before, you don't use things like fat or overweight, or you just say, the BMI is high, and you can explain that the BMI is over 30, and that is a bit high, and you say the numbers, we want it to be less than this. So you approach it from that being, and keep in mind that the child is there in the room as well. Your child is in the room. And there are a lot of kids, when you start talking about these issues, the self-esteem, they can go to an extreme as well and have eating disorders. So this is a very sensitive topic that you have to really approach with kid gloves. So when I was telling you in terms of how we approach terminologies that we avoid using, so that not just me as a clinician, but you as a parent need to avoid. When we're talking about, okay, the child needs to go on a diet. No, the child does not need to go on a diet. The child just needs to start eating healthy. We all need to start eating healthy. Because we want to be healthy and strong, so that's where we're going to approach it as. We don't talk about how much weight you need to lose and what your target is, that you're 100 pounds and your ideal weight you need to get to 50. That can be discouraging as well. So we don't talk about numbers as well. We just say that we need to start eating healthy and we need to get our numbers down. When you're talking about discussion about like health behaviors with the child's weight and diet, you talk about changes that we can apply to the entire family. Everyone gets on board, okay? So even if you have a person who has their ideal weight, they're not overweight or anything like that, we know that because Timmy is overweight, everyone, including Jim, even though Jim is really slim, he's gonna get on board too, because we're gonna purchase healthier foods, we're gonna have a healthier lifestyle, and everyone in the house is gonna eat the same, all right? And then giving rewards. You wanna encourage the parents to offer small, frequent rewards for the child. You're sticking with it, you're getting better, you're improving, okay? And then we're not to criticize for them not meeting their goals, all right? The aim and objective is to always encourage. Remember, some of them may have self-esteem issues and depression. So the aim is to always offer achievable goals and to always encourage, okay? Advise the parents and also when you're doing the healthy lifestyle changes to look at things that are feasible, all right? Because if we don't look at things that are feasible, we're not going to continue with it. We're not, you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna stop, all right? So I tell parents sometimes too that, instead of paying for them to go to a gym or, going to swimming classes is expensive as well, or tennis or whatever, what have you. Physical education is very important in the school. Make sure they're doing PE. And then some schools have extracurricular activities, like you could join the track team, the volleyball team, the soccer team. So doing those kind of things as well, get them involved in those kind of extracurricular activities. And then simple things like walking in the neighborhood say, or the parks, getting a bicycle. And then in terms of the meal plan, even though you say, yes, fruits and vegetables are very expensive, buying juices are expensive as well. So sometimes, just to give a parent one thing, especially if they come in and they feel very, very overwhelmed, we tell them, we're gonna do one thing for the next 2 weeks. We're just not gonna buy any sodas, we're not gonna buy any juices, any sweetened beverages, and we're just going to drink water. And don't think that that is a hard thing to do. I love juices. But I kid, and my kids love juices as well. But I made a decision and we just bought water. That was the only thing we had in the house, and they adjusted. The kids do adjust, and especially now that it's hot, nothing quenches your thirst like water. So just eliminating one thing, something that's sustainable, walking on the pavement, that's sustainable, going to the parks, riding your bicycle, kids get bicycles all the time for Christmas, that is sustainable. So you try to do things, goals and objectives that are going to be sustainable. Okay? We talked about that already, so we can skip that slide. So interventions. So we're doing that a lot now. I see now in the community where our representatives are doing community centers. And these community centers are having pools, so now kids get access to pool, they can do swimming. The community centers, also have places where they can go and exercise. They have, parks and, small equipment that they can go on. They have a basketball court, so they can spend time, playing basketball as well. And then we're implementing sidewalks. So those kind of things. You can, telling the parents that they can form groups within their community where they can have walks, they can have aerobics. In some communities, at the library, they do free aerobic classes in the front of the library as well. So those kind of things, and that's free. So again, sustainable. So those kind of things that are very simple, inexpensive, that we can do in terms of interventions. So overall, when we look at childhood obesity prevention, like I said, it starts from in the womb. So the way mommy's eating, we target that as well. We want mommy to eat healthy. We don't want mommy to have excessive weight gain. So we start talking about from before delivery. Breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is very important. Research has shown that children that are breastfed are less likely to be overweight or obese by the time they turn 1 year old, as opposed to children that are fed the cow's milk, so the formula. So we always want to encourage the parents to breastfeed. And also breastfed babies tend to only take whatever it is that they need, as opposed to formula-fed babies where the parents just keep going up and up and up on the ounces. And so that contributes to the child gaining a lot more weight as well. So we encourage breastfeeding. Promoting, you can go back, promoting healthier diet to food consumption, like we said, limiting the sweet beverages, and then portion size. So that's another thing we sit down and let the kids know about as well. We do send them a lot of times to the dietitians, but just simple things that we tell them. This is your circular plate. Half of your plate should be vegetables, and with the other half, we're cutting that in half as well. And they should be your carbohydrates, like your pasta, your potatoes, but we want the good carbs, like the cassava and the sweet potato. And then the other half is of that half is your protein, like your meat. Training healthcare providers. So just generally the physicians, the nurses, in terms of healthier lifestyle, healthier options, educating the parents, aunties, whatever guardians, when they come in on healthier options and healthier lifestyles, limiting the screen time. Nowadays, the parents come in and the kids are in the front of the television from their 2 months, watching. They're educational though. They're educational. but we're pulling them to be in front of the screen and to like the screen from a very early age. And then it's not supposed to start until 18 months, and that's supposed to only be a half an hour of screen time. And it should be interactive screen time with the parents. So just educating the parents and letting them know we should limit the screen time, because by the time they get 8, 9, then they're spending hours in the front of the television, and they're spending that time in television, and they're eating and they're snacking, and they're having their meals in the front of the television as well. And adequate sleep. A lot of the kids are playing the games, the consoles until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then they have to wake up for school at 6 a.m. 6 hours of sleep for an 8-year-old, that's just not gonna work, all right? And then physical activity, promoting at least 1 hour of physical activity for 5 days out of the week. And like I said, it can be simple, sustainable stuff. You can watch TV for that time if you're gonna do a 1 hour YouTube video or doing some sort of exercise. And then depending if the child likes dance, they can dance for an hour with a YouTube song or dance routine. Okay, so that would be your screen time. So just promoting physical activity as well. So this is guideline that was put forth in 2002, and dietary guidelines. So it's basically because it incorporates the foods that we eat here in the Bahamas. So they just gave guidelines in terms of what we should do in terms of preventing obesity and reducing weight, such as, you know, when you choose your food, you're eating healthier options. You're staying away from the high carb foods, the high fat foods and greasy foods, like your cracked conch, and your steamed sausages and all that stuff like that. Eating more vegetables and fruits. Staying away from the sugary beverages, like your daiquiri. You can't go and have daiquiri every day. And then in terms of your physical exercise and all of that. So this is available on the website. You can just type it in, and it's good to go to because it just practically for us, it tells us some of the things that we can do here in the Bahamas, and parents can use as a guideline in terms of what to do with their kids. And that's just the second page. So very, very practical tips that we tell parents when they come in terms of, doc, what am I supposed to do? You know, they don't want to go outside and play. They prefer to eat the junk food and they don't like when I cook. So, you know, we usually sit down with both the parents and the child. And like I said, we're encouraging, we're not blaming. And we're telling them, you know, we're doing this so we can be nice and healthy and strong. This is not a diet plan. This is a lifestyle change. And our aim and objective is that we don't want kids that are becoming adults who are going to have these chronic communicable diseases that are going to be a burden, like high blood pressure and diabetes and high cholesterol. That's going to result in heart disease and peripheral vascular disease and stuff. So we encourage parents to have the child eat at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables each day. Whenever you tell them that, it's like, oh gosh, doc, that's a lot. No, you know, when you start off, and a lot of the kids do have problems with their bowel movements as well. So we tell them that's going to help that as well. So first thing in the morning, you want to have a fruit, you want to have some water. And in the afternoons for lunchtime, you can have a fruit again. Most kids take fruits for snacks as well. There you go with your 2 servings of fruits for the day. And then for vegetables, having your vegetables for lunch and dinner, you can get in your serving size as well for the day during that as well. So limiting the screen time. And like I said, in terms of age, their age recommendation, we started at 18 months and they should only have half an hour interactive TV time. By the time they're teenagers, it is recommended that they, in terms of total screen time, that is 2 hours or less. So, and then avoiding those 270 calories sugary drinks. try to avoid, just don't buy it. So I asked a parent before to, when she said that, oh, they eat a lot of chips and a lot of cookies and all of that. So I said, how do they get access to these things? Oh, I know they like it, so I buy it. So do they have money? No. Okay, so just don't buy it. Just don't buy it and you'll actually save money. All right, so just don't put it in the house. They won't have access to it. Because one parent in particular had a problem where even though she would hide it, the child would go and seek it in the nighttime and go and eat it. So just don't buy it. Don't have it in the house. Make sure your child is getting adequate sleep. Schedulings are very important. Kids thrive on schedules. So if you're supposed to go to bed at 9 o'clock, you go to bed at 9 o'clock because we have to wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to get on the road. There's a lot of cars out there. So you need to have adequate sleep. So no, there's no more screen time. Get your homework done. Get scheduled as soon as you get home. You get your homework done, you eat, you get a little recreation time. They do need a break. Get your little exercise in, then you go to bed. You gotta get enough hours of sleep, okay? And so these are the recommended averages hours for based on ages. All right. And then, like I said, involve the whole family. Next slide. And tell your child the goal is for them to be healthy and strong, not for them to stop being fat and to get skinnier. Remember, we don't use those words. And then if the child seems to be having issues at school, if they seem to be getting excessively worried about their weight, know when that occurs, so you can refer, let the clinician know when to refer them to get more and extensive therapy. Okay, and remember that childhood obesity and prevention is a community effort. We all need to get involved. We all need to get on board for it. All right, thank you. Yeah.
Are there any questions on Zoom?
Excellent presentation. I have a question. What kind of response do you get from, practical response? I know you may not what you're saying, what you advise, but what kind of adherence do you really get to maybe percentage wise or whatever?
Yeah, so very good question. So there's, like I said, there are some parents, some patients, it's very few that won't come back at all. After you approach this topic, and then the ones that you come back after a while, they stay because it's hard, it's difficult, and I always tell them, I know it's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be hard, but you're going to take it one step at a time. But there are a lot of parents, especially when it gets to a concern where they have a family history of diabetes and high blood pressure, and you let them know that this child, because we've been having quite enough number of early teenagers, like in 13, 14, that have been coming in with diabetes, not type 1 diabetes, but insulin type 2 diabetes, and elevated blood pressure. So when it comes to you telling them, they are at risk, they're more adherent and more on board, and especially once you get the support, tell them you want to go to the dietitian, we're going to follow up, we're going to make sure we're getting through this together. So and when you do it that way, you get a better response.
Just a comment, I came from, spent the weekend with my son and his family in Orlando. They're very health conscious and they're all slender. Anyway, you said so many things that I could make comments on, but one thing I want to point out to everybody, I have 3 children ages 41 to 51. We never had any sodas in the house when they grew up. And none of them have any fillings. So that's a side benefit of keeping sodas away from children. Anyway, I really enjoyed what you had to say. So much of it related to me that I can think of a million things, many things to say. Thank you.
Doug, this is such a timely presentation in light of what we're trying, the initiative that we're doing here, where we talk about now. So again, thank you so much. My question is very simple. With the increase of so many children who are affected by this, other than changing their diet, if there's something extreme, do you have other things that you could recommend? Is there surgery? Is there, because I see a lot of things being offered now on television, these injections, and I'm not sure they are right, but can you speak to that, please?
So there are.
If there's an extreme case
Yeah.
where it's a thyroid issue or what have you.
So if there's, like I said, if there's an endocrine disorder, if there's issue in terms of with a medical condition, then it can be addressed. We don't have pediatric endocrinologists here, but, our adult endocrinologists are very good with handling the pediatric patients, or if they can afford it, they'll send them away. But if the obesity, is, like we said, with the class 3, where it's, morbid obesity and it's affecting, it's causing health challenges, there are centers, even though we don't have ones here, there are centers that a child can go to where they get more monitoring in terms of with the weight loss, so that they're gonna get healthy weight losses as well. There are, and then I know that we do have a surgeon, an adult surgeon that does gastric bypass and stuff like that, but in terms of with kids, that's kind of the last resort. We don't do that. But there are centers that would help in terms of nutrition, exercise, psychiatric overview as well, to make sure that they're getting through, they're getting effective weight loss, and in terms of their psyche, that we don't see any issues with them getting to a point where they're going into an eating disorder. Because that's a risk factor as well.
One more question before I pass it over to my buddy, is this, from a macro point of view, there are several countries that have actually either removed taxes on fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously, some places you go, the water is more expensive than the soda. And you talked about economics in terms of, people getting sugary foods and stuff like that because they're cheaper. Can you speak to probably what the organization or the government can do to change that? To make sure that we make it more affordable for persons healthy stuff.
And that's the thing, like, I love grapes, seeded grapes. I think that's natural. But for the seeded grape, you're paying $12, $13, $14, $15. So in terms of just, I think, and there are a lot of things that can be grown here. So that's one of the things that we need to do, start actually trying to feed ourselves with some of these things. Just a quick example, when I went to Trinidad to school for training, and I went into the grocery stores, the vegetables, a lot of the vegetables, not the fruits maybe, but the vegetables, like they still had the soil on them. So there were vegetables that were grown right there, and there was a big area of it. And then when I looked around as well, I noticed that there were a lot of fat people there. And again, when I went looking for clothes while I was there weren't a lot of clothes in bigger sizes as well. And I'm telling you, it was hard for me to find clothes that fit me. So definitely by the end of my first year, I went from a size 12 to wearing a size 8 because like I had to. We walked everywhere we went, and the vegetables were much cheaper because it was grown there. So you can buy a lot of vegetables, and they had the organic meat and all that stuff like that was cheaper as well, that they had grown there as well. So we were able to get those things cheaper, and we went for cheap as you're a student. So vegetable was cheap, getting the meat was cheap, so we ate a little healthier, and then we started to exercise too. So just things like that the government to do in terms of the healthier things. We just need a little break in terms of the prices. There's a lot of people just cannot afford it. They cannot, they want to eat healthier, and they say that too. Doc, I want to eat healthier, so they can't afford it. The canned goods are the cheaper things.
Dr. Swiner said that there are centers that kids can go to for growth. Can you provide us with maybe a few?
I'll have to actually, yeah. Cause it's basically in the States, we don't have that kind of, centers here that provide that. We have to just follow them up chronically with the dietitian and make sure they have a psychiatrist, a child psychiatrist along with them as well. But we don't have centers per se.
Hey, Dr. Swan Miller, I'd like to thank you for the thanks to be done by yours truly. Okay, so Dr. Swan, I would like to say that your presentation today was very, very thorough and very informative. And although it was brief, we'd like to thank you for all that we learned. I know I'm walking away today with a lot of information. The statistics that you provided was baffling, especially when you said the kids are 4 times likely to be obese if they are raised with obese parents, which makes me very concerned about my daughter. And we would like to thank you for your etiological factors, from the environmental factors, the sedentary lifestyle, all the way down to gestation, endocrine, and infancy and early childhood disorders. We thank you for your strategies, where you encourage us to be non-critical, use neutral words when you're encouraging the child, and to include the whole home and making lifestyle changes. So today, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Nassau, I'd like to thank you for your presentation and helping us to complete our initiative this month.
Excellent presentation indeed. Going to call our winning ticket for the raffle, 533526. Ain't gonna be my ticket. All right, Dr. Miller, good stuff. It wasn't my ticket. Yes, yes.
So if you come in, you're ready, and you're ready, all you're gonna do is ready.
We'll now have our 4-way test, if we can please stand. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and have friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? Of the glasses. Now have our Rotary toast. You can raise the glasses for the Rotary toast to the King, the Rotary around the world. Thank you. Our fellow Rotarians and guests, this meeting is now adjourned. Yes.
Let's get a good picture with everybody. Picture up with everyone.
Try to see if I get some music here going.
That was the best of all the 4 weeks.
Thank you.
No, man. Mike, you join us? And now you join us? Let me find out. Now you can have a seat. All right. Somebody got to sit down. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Lightburn. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's right, that's right.